Okay, picture this. The year is 1992. It's deep into the night in Giza, Egypt. We're in the Haram area, those really crowded maze-like streets. Imagine the heat still coming off the buildings. Down this dark, quiet side street next to some old, crumbling ruin, a young man finds something terrifying.
Yeah, he finds a body. Just left there. He doesn't get close, calls the police right away, and when they arrive, well, it's obvious. Murder. Brutal, too.
How brutal are we talking?
Severe blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
To the head, multiple hits, looks like something heavy, something sharp-edged maybe.
Yeah.
His clothes completely soaked in blood. It was intense rage.
Grim. But the first question wasn't just how he died, right? It was where.
Exactly. And the biggest clue was staring them right in the face, what he was wearing.
What was it?
Just simple house clothes. A galabia, that long sort of gown and these thin slippers, shib-sheb, all drenched in blood.
House clothes. Wait, so not street clothes. If someone wanted to attack a wealthy merchant, wouldn't they expect him outside doing business?
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's why the galabia changes everything. It completely flips the script. This wasn't a street hit. This wasn't a business rival grabbing him on the way home.
It happened indoors.
Right. It strongly suggests the murder happened inside, probably in his own home, where he felt safe. And then the body was moved, dumped nearby.
Okay, so the killer wasn't some random outsider. They had access. They were inside the house.
That's the immediate thought. Someone intimate with the household, or at least someone who could get in easily.
Now, who was this guy? And who would dare do something like this inside a home in such a packed neighborhood, then just carry the body out?
Well, identifying the victim actually happened pretty fast. They started checking missing persons reports filed around Giza.
And they got a hit.
Almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
A report filed that very morning. A woman named Wajiha reported her husband missing. His name was Al-Mu'allim Mahmoud.
Al-Mu'allim Mahmoud, a known figure.
Oh, yeah. Wealthy merchant, well known in the area. So they bring Wajiha to the morgue.
And her reaction?
Apparently, quite dramatic. Collapsed in grief, identified him.
Yeah.
But then, her story started.
What did she say?
She immediately tried to point fingers outwards. Said Mahmoud had tons of enemies, business rivals, people jealous of his success. She even threw in this idea of a family vendetta.
A vendetta, like from his hometown?
Yeah, she mentioned he was from Asyut in Upper Egypt, and maybe his family had some old score to settle a tar, she called it, trying to create this whole narrative of external threats.
Sounds like a smokescreen. Did the police buy it?
Not for long. Her story started falling apart pretty quickly when they looked at the facts they already had.
Like the clothes?
Exactly. Fact one, the house clothes. That points right back to the home, contradicting her story about him being out and ambushed by, say, unknown traitors she mentioned. Fact two, police intelligence. They started asking around, quietly. Turns out Mahmoud's real conflicts, the really bitter ones, they weren't business rivals. They were almost all domestic, inside his own family.
Ah. And was there a third fact? Something specific?
Oh, yes. The clincher. The money trail. Just before he died, Al-Mu'allim Mahmoud had transferred ownership of his biggest asset, his bakery, the Fern, directly to Wajiha.
He gave her the bakery. Wow, that must have caused waves.
Massive waves. You have to understand the context here. Wajiha was Mahmoud's, well, not his first wife, or even his second, and they had 4 daughters together, Sabah, Samah, and Retta.
But Mahmoud had other children from previous marriages.
Many, including sons. And under the inheritance laws back then, those sons stood to inherit the lion's share of his estate. Wajiha and her daughters would get a much, much smaller piece.
So getting the bakery in her name
was her way of securing her future and her daughter's future. It took that major asset right off the table before inheritance laws could touch it. It protected them from the claims of the sons.
But it also put a huge target on her back, didn't it? Making her the prime suspect.
Instantly. That transfer wasn't just a financial transaction. It was the flashpoint for all the simmering family tension. It caused huge arguments, massive strife with Mahmoud's other children. The police saw that and thought, okay, the motive isn't some ancient vendetta. It's right here. It's about this bakery.
So the focus shifted entirely onto Wajiha and the situation inside that house.
Completely. To really get why this happened, though, you kind of have to go back, way back, 20 years earlier, to 1972. That's where this whole tragic story really begins.
All right, let's rewind. 1972. Tell us about Al-Mu'allim Mahmoud back then.
He was a young man then, just arrived in Giza from Asyut, settled in a neighborhood called Qalm el-Akhdar. Started really small, just a little street cart selling fowl and tameya, fava beans and falafel.
Humble beginnings.
Very. But he was ambitious and shrewd. He built his business up, earned that title, Mala Master or Merchant, became successful.
But success didn't make him easygoing.
Apparently not. Sources describe him as, arrogant, difficult, very self-interested, traits that would definitely come back to bite him later.
Okay, so that's Mahmoud. Where does Wajiha fit in back in 72?
She was right there. Her father, Al-Hajj Mahmoud, was the local watchman, quite poor, working right near the Mu'allim's shop. Wajiha was young, very beautiful, but also fiercely determined to escape poverty.
And she saw the successful Mu'allim as her way out.
Seems like it. He was about 20 years older than her, already married to 2 other women at the time, had loads of kids, so many as supposedly he couldn't even remember all their names.
Wow, 2 wives and tons of kids, and Wajiha still went for it.
She was strategic. She started making sure he noticed her, flattered him, made him feel young, desired. And Mahmoud, despite his age and existing families, fell for it. Hard. Utterly obsessed. It got so intense that he actually promised Wajiha's father he would divorce both his current wives and essentially abandon all his existing children, just so he could marry Wajiha.
He promised that. Did he actually do it?
Get this. 2 days later, he did. Just like that. Divorced wives 1 and 2, walked away from his kids, all for Wajiha.
That's shocking. He just threw away his entire family.
For her. So right from the start, you see this relationship is built on something pretty unstable. Betrayal, convenience, obsession. Not exactly a recipe for lasting peace.
No kidding. So fast forward. They get married. Did things work out initially?
For a while, yeah. It seemed like the marriage brought Mamu even more luck financially. He bought the big bakery, built a large house. They had their 4 daughters. Life was comfortable.
But the peace didn't last.
No. Once things settled down, Mahmoud apparently reverted to his old ways. Difficult, arrogant, maybe even abusive. And there was a new source of tension.
What was that?
Wajiha hadn't given him a son, 4 daughters, but no male heir to carry on the business, the family name. And this apparently made him furious. His anger escalated.
And Wajiha must have seen the writing on the wall, remembering how easily he dumped his previous wife.
Exactly. She got terrified. She saw herself potentially ending up, just like them, divorced, abandoned, thrown back into poverty. That's when she made her move for financial security.
The bakery transfer.
Right. She pushed for it. She apparently convinced him the reason was to protect her for their daughters, that she'd immediately pass it on to the girls.
But she didn't.
Nope. Once the deed was in her name, she refused to transfer it again. Held onto it herself. And that refusal ignited the final violent conflict between them. Constant fighting.
So she had the bakery, but the fighting was intense. She must have felt trapped again.
It seems she reached a breaking point. With Mahmoud's rage growing, maybe threats of divorce, she decided killing him was her only way out. The only way to guarantee she kept that bakery and her security.
But she couldn't do it alone. She needed help.
She needed accomplices she could trust. And her choice. It's just incredibly cruel when you think about it. She turned to 2 young men named Adel and Zaid.
Who were they?
They were also from Asyut, like Mahmoud. He'd taken them under his wing years ago, practically raised them, mentored them in their business, treated them like his own sons. They were his absolute right-hand men.
He trusted them completely, and she turned them against him.
Through manipulation and bribery. Wajiha knew Adel secretly wanted to marry her eldest daughter, Sabah.
Ah, leverage.
Big time. She made him an offer he couldn't refuse. You help me kill Mahmoud, you can marry Sabah. Oh, and here's 5,000 Egyptian pounds, which, back in 1992, was a fortune.
And Adel agreed, just like that.
Immediately, apparently. But he said his brother, Zaid, had to be in on it too. Zaid demanded his own cut, 2,500 pounds.
So Wajiha agreed to pay both of them. Anyone else involved?
Yes. She needed more help inside the house. She coerced 2 of her own daughters, Sabah, the one promised to Adel, and another daughter, Samah.
How did she convince her own daughters to help murder their father?
Fear. She basically told them, if he lives, if he divorces me or finds out about this, we lose everything. We'll be disgraced, thrown out, penniless. It's him or us.
Unbelievable. The wife, 2 daughters, and his 2 most trusted sons. That's the conspiracy.
That was the team. So this brings us right back to that night in 1992. The plan was set.
How did it go down?
Meticulously planned. Adel and Zaid snuck into the family house earlier in the evening. They hid up on the roof, just waiting.
While Mahmoud was
completely unaware. He came home from work at the bakery, had his dinner prepared by Wajiha, chillingly enough, and then he just went to bed.
And then
Wajiha gave the signal. Sabah and Samah went up to the roof, brought Adel and Zaid down quietly. Wajiha met the two men right outside the bedroom door.
Did she give them the weapon?
Yes, she handed them a heavy iron pipe.
And they just went in.
They went into the bedroom. Mahmoud was asleep. They beat him repeatedly with the pipe until he was dead.
While Wajiha
Stood nearby, waited until it was done. She then confirmed he was dead and immediately shifted into cover-up mode.
What was the first step?
Get rid of the body. She told Adel and Zaid to take him out immediately, dump him somewhere nearby, and desert it, which turned out to be that ruin where he was found.
And while they were doing that,
Wajiha, Sabah and Samah got to work inside. A deep, methodical cleaning of the bedroom. They scrubbed away every single trace of blood, any evidence that the murder happened right there. Sanitized the entire scene.
and the next morning?
Wajiha put the final piece of her plan in motion. Went to the police, filed the missing person report, fed them the story about unknown traitors, business enemies, the potential tar, trying to control the narrative from the start.
But it was too late. The police already had doubts.
Too many inconsistencies. When they confronted her again, they laid it all out.
What did they hit her with?
Everything. The location where the body was found so close to home, the house clothes proving it happened inside, the lack of any real evidence of external enemies compared to the known domestic fighting, and of course the huge financial motive, that bakery transfer right before his death.
The pressure must have been immense.
It was. Faced with all the evidence, her story crumbled. She broke down.
And
Completely. Didn't just admit her own role as the mastermind. She named every single person involved. Her daughters, Sabah and Samah, and the two men Mahmoud had trusted like sons, Adel and Zaid.
Wow. Wow. So looking back at this whole thing, what's the takeaway?
Well, you see this 20-year arc, right? It starts with Wajiha pursuing security, which led her to encourage Mahmoud's betrayal of his first family.
And it ends.
It ends with her own ultimate betrayal, not just of Mahmoud, but of her own daughters and the two young men who were like family, all driven by this obsession with money, with securing those assets. In the end, that obsession cost everyone involved absolutely everything.
What was the legal outcome?
Justice was quite severe in this case. After the investigation and the trials, all five of them, Wajiha, her daughter Sabah and Samah, and the brothers Adel and Zaid, were found guilty.
And the sentence.
They were all sentenced to death, execution. The whole intricate plot to gain wealth and security led directly to the loss of their own lives.
It's a chilling cycle. You mentioned Mahmoud sacrificed his first family for Wajiha back in '72.
Yeah, seeking convenience, maybe reclaiming his youth through her.
And then, 20 years later, Wajiha sacrifices her children, her accomplices, and ultimately herself for his assets.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? When a life or relationship is founded purely on self-interest, on deceit, on using and discarding people, is an ending soaked in betrayal really that surprising?
Maybe it was just doomed from the start. The initial betrayal just kept echoing, getting louder and bloodier.
It seems that way. The foundation was rotten.
And here's something to leave you with. We know Wajiha had 4 daughters with the Mu'allim. 2 of them, Sabah and Samah, were executed alongside their mother. But what about the other 2, Swad and Reda? What happened to them after their father was murdered and their mother and sisters were executed? Their lives must have been completely shattered. That's perhaps a story for another deep dive.